Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love, something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, Rooted Men. It's great. It's great to be with you today. Boy, winter just is always there, and it's like, oh, sorry, I got background noise here, so I'm making sure I was working right. Okay, so we've learned what about Gideon? Oh, Gideon. This is a great story. It has so many different themes, but I think the one that always sticks out to me with Gideon is this dude has got questions. Man, he is always asking questions. To me, if God calls me and says, do this, I would think he's going to do this, because that's how you write things in the book, right? That's how people of God react. We know that's not true. We know that without a doubt, almost all of us fail. And many of us question God when it comes time to do what we're supposed to do. But first, let's see who's here. All right. It says I have 11 people online. 4 on X, 7 on YouTube, would be 11. So we have Chuck B, first man in today. He won the race, boys. And then Ken Gooch showed up right there, right next to him. And Chris Conley's here, and Bert Reggiani's here. And that's all that's commented. That's 4, and there's 10, 11. So that's right. Say hi, guys. It's okay. All right. So let me pull this down. Let me see if I can find the correct tab so I don't mess this up. There I am. All right. So it starts out in verse 17. He says, and he said to him, now the angels have come and visited him, told him that he's going to be the guy. All right. And so this is Gideon's response. He said to him, if now I have found favor in your eyes, then show me a sign that it is you who speak with me. Please do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And he said, I will stay till you return. I read this about 4 times because I couldn't figure out who the he was, and kind of maybe the way he should have wrote it. But of course, this is a translation too. So, but anyway, a present. And that's what it sounded kind of funny that you would give somebody a present you just met. But then I looked, and the Hebrew word in this case for present actually means offering. It does. For the life of me, why would translators use present in this instance? But then if you look at some of the other translations, they use offering, and some say present. So I just found that odd. It was a little curious. It's called, the word is minhat. I'm not sure that's how they say it, but that's how it's spelled. MIN-HAT. Lots of pronunciation things over top, but anyway, just a little side bit for you. So he's preparing an offering for this guy. So Gideon went into his house, and prepared a young goat and unleavened cakes from an ephah of flour. The meat he put in a basket, and the broth he put in a pot, and he brought them to him under the terebinth and presented them. The angel of God said to him, "Take the meat and unleavened cakes and put them on this rock, and pour the broth over them." And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of his staff that was in his hand, touched the meat and unleavened cakes, and fire sprang up from the rock and consumed the meat and unleavened cakes. And the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord, and Gideon said, "Alas, O Lord God." Sorry. "Alas, O Lord God, for now I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace. Peace be to you. Do not fear. You shall not die." Why would he think he would die? Old Testament law. I think we can go back to Moses in the Old Testament. In the book of Exodus, asked to see God. He said, "Please show me your glory." And this is from Exodus 33:18, if you're interested. "Please show me your glory." And he said, "I will make my goodness pass before you and will proclaim before you my name, the Lord. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy unto whom I will show mercy." But he said, "You cannot see my face, for a man shall not see me and live." Okay, so Gideon is aware of this. And he's just been face to face with a man. And I think maybe the words when he said, "Alas, Lord God, for I have now seen the angel of the Lord's face to face." He was hoping it was an angel. But then God definitely made him say, or, he's told him he doesn't need to fear, he won't die. And that's where Gideon built an altar to the Lord and called it "The Lord is Peace." To this day, it still stands. Oprah. How many people read Oprah? Oh no, which belongs to the Ebersites. There's a common theme, as I said before, that he fears. I mean, he's questioning, and Gideon is not. Oh wait, let me pull this down. We're done reading for today. How's that sound? Hold on. So Gideon is not totally fully on board yet, and you'll read in the coming chapters. He's got more questions. He's got more doubts. But today's theme, to what we just read, that little bit, it's snippet, we have to find a lesson in there, right? We have to find something that applies to life. And I looked at it and I said, Gideon is not he's not unusual as far as people that God calls. We can remember in the book of Exodus when Gideon, Moses was called, he doubted his ability to speak. He questioned if he should even be in charge of this task that God had put before him. He had deep concerns, and God answered those concerns and gave him Joshua to be his partner. But he's not alone. Jeremiah, the prophet, was called. The first thing he said to God, he said, "Now the word of the Lord came to me. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you to be a prophet of the nations. Then I said, Lord God, behold, I do not know how to speak, for I am only a youth." But the Lord said to me, "Do not say I am only a youth, for to all to whom I send, you shall go, and whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord." Jeremiah had deep concerns just as well. He was just a kid. I mean, his purpose, God saw. God called him. He equipped him. But there's been so many that were questioning. You got look at Ananias when he was told to go heal Paul. He was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! This guy's scary." Or there's, how about Peter? Here's the perfect example to me. Peter, the first time Jesus called him, Peter fell down on his knees saying, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord God. Depart from me." Peter knew how holy Jesus was, how much of a prophet he was. And he also knew all the problems he had and all the weaknesses he shared with so many of us. Can any of us see ourselves in these situations? I can tell you myself that I have shied away from certain ministry jobs just because of my own self-doubts and my own weaknesses, the allowing the enemy to whisper in my ears that somebody's got to be more capable than me. These devotions alone, it was not an easy thing to do the first few times. I still struggle, and I still watch that countdown clock with a little knot in my stomach because I'm not sure if I'm ready. We all go through these things. It's not an abnormal thing. It's some of the greatest rewards we'll have in our life will come when we look at something that's terrifying. It's something that scares us to death. And we say, okay, I'll do it. It might be, for some, it might be speaking in public. For others, it might be leading a Bible study. For maybe your biggest fear is being out in public in a situation where people are expecting you to say something. Speaking at a funeral or speaking at a birthday party or at a wedding. So many of us are put in situations that make us uncomfortable. And we see it, the more uncomfortable the situation, the greater task God has for you there. We look at the story of Gideon is a cute story. It really is a really good story because Gideon, God makes this whole adventure so terrifying and so unbelievably difficult that it has to be a miracle, that it can't be anything short of that. So in our lives, when we're asked to do something a little scary, it may end up being the best reward you'll ever have in your life. It might be the thing that makes you continue. I think that allows us to grow internally. God challenges us. And if he doesn't challenge us, that would be scary. That would be the thing that would bother me the most. The thing that would push me is when he stops challenging us. Does that mean he's done or we're done? I don't think so. I think he's going to continue to challenge us through our entire life if we allow him, if we don't stand in the way and block the path. That's what I have for you today, guys. I hope it was a blessing. I didn't talk too long, which is pretty good, right? And I see that Brian Vlaming came on. And morning, Brian. It's always great to have you. I think that's what I got for you guys. I think I am done. So how would I say this? Have a firmly rooted day, guys. And may someone see Jesus in you today. Hey, and if God calls you, answer the phone.